Welcome to the fascinating world of coin collecting. The 2001 D. Jefferson nickel is a classic piece of U.S. currency that reflects both history and everyday American life. Featuring Thomas Jefferson and his iconic home Monticello, this coin represents a long-standing design that remained unchanged for decades. Although common in circulation, it still holds value for collectors as a symbol of tradition, craftsmanship, and the enduring legacy of one of America's founding fathers. Top 5. First up, the 2001 D. Jefferson 5-cent coin, nickel, is part of the long-running Jefferson Nickels series, which has been a cornerstone of United States coinage since its introduction in 1938. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, indicated by the small D mint mark located on the obverse front of the coin, to the right of Thomas Jefferson's portrait. The Jefferson nickel replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel, reflecting a shift toward honoring American presidents and bringing a more modern, refined design to everyday currency. By 2001, the coin had already become a familiar and widely circulated piece of American money, used daily in commerce and recognized across generations. The design of the 2001 D. Jefferson nickel was created by Felix Schlag, whose work was selected through a design competition held by the U.S. Mint in the late 1930s. On the obverse, the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The inscriptions include "In God We Trust" to the left, "Liberty" and the year 2001 to the right. The reverse displays Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, located in Virginia. The inscriptions on the reverse read EPLURIBUSUNUM, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. This classic design remained largely unchanged from 1938 until the major redesigns of 2004-2005. From a historical perspective, the year 2001 represents a period of stability in U.S. coinage, just before the U.S. Mint began experimenting with new designs for the nickel to commemorate the Lewis and Clark expedition. The 2001 D nickel was minted in large quantities to meet the needs of everyday commerce, reflecting the continued reliance on physical currency at the time. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, making them very common in circulation. Despite their abundance, these coins serve as a snapshot of pre-redesign American coinage and the enduring legacy of Jefferson's image in U.S. currency. In terms of composition, the 2001 D. Jefferson nickel is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a durable structure and its characteristic silver-gray appearance. The coin has a diameter of 21.21, weighs 5 grams, and features a smooth edge. This composition has been consistent for U.S. nickels since 1866, except for the wartime silver alloy nickels of 1940 to 1945, highlighting the long-standing tradition and practicality of the metal blend used in these coins. When it comes to value, the 2001 D. Jefferson nickel is generally considered a common coin due to its high mintage and widespread circulation. In most circulated conditions, it is worth only its face value of 5 cents. However, uncirculated examples in mint condition can be worth slightly more, typically ranging from 20 cents to $1, depending on their quality and luster. Coins with exceptional preservation, strong strikes, or those graded at higher mint state levels, such as MS65 or above, may command higher prices among collectors. Additionally, any coins with minting errors, such as off-center strikes or die cracks, can significantly increase their value. The 2001 D. Jefferson nickel is a modern United States 5-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint, representing a continuation of the long-running Jefferson Nickels series that began in 1938 to honor President Thomas Jefferson. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features Jefferson's left-facing portrait on the obverse with inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 2001, while the reverse displays his famous home, Monticello, along with EPLURIBUSUNUM, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. Composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the coin has a durable structure and a silver-gray appearance typical of U.S. nickels. With a high mintage of over 627 million coins, the 2001 D nickel is very common in circulation and usually holds only its face value of 5 cents. However, uncirculated examples in higher grades like MS65 or above can be worth between 25 cents and $2, while exceptional specimens or error coins may reach higher values among collectors, making it an important yet affordable piece of early 21st century American coinage history. Overall, the 2001 D. Jefferson nickel is not rare, but it holds importance as part of a historic and continuous series that reflects American heritage, artistry, and economic life. For collectors, it represents an accessible entry point into numismatics, while also serving as a reminder of the enduring presence of Thomas Jefferson on U.S. coinage for more than 6 decades. Next up, the 2002 D. Jefferson nickel is part of one of the longest-running coin series in United States history, originally introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. Designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, while the reverse traditionally displays his famous home, Monticello. By 2002, the design had remained largely unchanged for decades, making it a familiar and iconic piece of everyday American currency. The D mint mark indicates that this particular coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the major U.S. mint facilities responsible for producing large quantities of circulating coinage. In terms of historical background, the early 2000s were a period of economic stability in the United States, and coins like the 2002 D. Jefferson nickel were produced primarily for everyday commerce rather than special commemorative purposes. However, an interesting detail about the year 2002 is that the U.S. Mint produced lower mintages of nickels for circulation, as many were instead included in collector sets. The Denver Mint struck approximately 539 million Jefferson nickels in 2002, which, while still a large number, is lower compared to some earlier years. This slightly reduced mintage has made the 2002 D nickel somewhat more appealing to collectors, especially in higher uncirculated grades. The design details of the 2002 D. Jefferson nickel reflect classic American coin artistry. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait is accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 2002, with the D mint mark positioned to the right of the date. The reverse shows a detailed engraving of Monticello, with inscriptions EPLURIBUSUNUM, United States of America, and 5 cents. The coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance, and it has a diameter of 21.2 with a smooth edge. When it comes to value, the 2002 D. Jefferson nickel is generally considered common in circulated condition, meaning most coins found in everyday use are only worth their face value of 5 cents. However, coins in uncirculated condition, MS63, MS67, can be worth anywhere from 50 cents to $10 or more, depending on their quality, luster, and strike. Exceptionally well-preserved specimens with strong details and no visible wear can fetch higher prices, particularly if they are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Additionally, collectors often search for error coins, such as off-center strikes or die cracks, which can significantly increase value. The 2002 D. Jefferson nickel is a modern U.S. 5-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint, continuing the long-running Jefferson series first introduced in 1938 and designed by Felix Schlag, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home Monticello on the reverse. Made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a mintage of about 539 million, it was produced during a time when fewer nickels entered circulation due to collector set production, making it slightly more collectible than some surrounding years, though in most circulated conditions it remains worth face value, while uncirculated examples with strong detail and luster can range from around 50 cents to $10 or more, especially in higher grades or with rare mint errors. Overall, the 2002 D. Jefferson nickel may not be rare, but it holds an important place in the continuity of U.S. coinage history. Its slightly lower mintage compared to other modern nickels, combined with its classic design and role in everyday transactions, makes it a meaningful piece for both beginner and experienced collectors. Next up, the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel is part of the long-running Jefferson Nickels series, which has been a cornerstone of United States coinage since its introduction in 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin was created to replace the Buffalo nickel and features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse, while the reverse traditionally displays his famous home, Monticello. By 2002, the design had remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognizable and enduring coins in American circulation. The P Mint mark indicates that this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic minting facilities in the United States. The early 2000s were a relatively stable period in U.S. coin production, just before the major design changes introduced in 2004 and 2005 to commemorate the Lewis and Clark expedition. In terms of design, the obverse of the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," along with the year 2002. The reverse displays Monticello in a detailed, symmetrical style, with the inscriptions EPLURIBUS Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it durability and a distinctive silvery appearance. It has a diameter of 21.21 and a plain edge. The craftsmanship during this period was consistent, though coins struck for general circulation often show minor wear and less sharp detail compared to proof versions. The mintage of the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel was quite high, with hundreds of millions of coins produced, reflecting the ongoing demand for small-denomination currency in everyday transactions. Because of this large mintage, the coin is generally not considered rare. Most examples found in circulation today have modest value, typically worth only their face value of 5 cents. However, uncirculated coins in mint condition, graded MS-65 or higher, can carry a premium among collectors, sometimes reaching a few dollars depending on quality and eye appeal. Special varieties, such as coins with errors like off-center strikes, doubled dies, or unusual planchet issues, may be significantly more valuable and sought after. Historically, the 2002 Jefferson nickel represents the final years before a major redesign phase in the series. In 2004 and 2005, the U.S. Mint introduced new reverse designs and updated portraits of Jefferson to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Therefore, the 2002 P issue is often seen as part of the classic Monticello design era, which had remained largely unchanged since 1938. For collectors, it serves as a reference point for the traditional style before the modern updates that followed shortly after. The 2002 P. Jefferson nickel is a United States 5-cent coin produced at the Philadelphia Mint as part of the long-running Jefferson series that began in 1938 and was designed by Felix Schlag to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, featuring his portrait on the obverse and his historic home Monticello on the reverse. In 2002, this coin continued the classic design era just before the major redesign changes introduced in 2004-2005, and it carries the P mint mark indicating Philadelphia production, with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a diameter of 21.21, and a plain edge, while the obverse includes inscriptions such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 2002. And the reverse shows Monticello along with EPLURIBUSUNUM, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The mintage of the 2002 P nickel was extremely high, with hundreds of millions struck for everyday circulation, making it a very common coin today with little rarity in circulated condition, typically worth only its face value of 5 cents. Although uncirculated examples in higher grades can have modest collector value, and special error varieties such as missed strikes or doubled dies may be worth more. And overall, this coin represents the final years of the traditional Jefferson/Monticello design, before the U.S. Mint transitioned into more modern commemorative designs, making it historically significant for collectors despite its common availability. Overall, the 2002 P Jefferson nickel is a common yet historically meaningful coin that reflects both the stability of late 20th century U.S. coinage and the transition toward more commemorative and varied designs in the early 21st century. While it may not be rare or highly valuable in most cases, it remains an important piece for collectors completing a Jefferson nickel series, especially in high-grade condition or as part of a complete daytime mint set. Next up, the 1980 P Jefferson nickel is a regular-issue 5-cent coin of the United States Mint that forms part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series, which began in 1938 and continues today, designed by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint and bearing no mint mark on earlier years but marked with P, beginning in 1980. This coin was produced during a period when the U.S. economy was experiencing inflationary pressure and rising production demands for circulating coinage, resulting in a very large mintage of approximately 593 million pieces, making it extremely common in circulation. Composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel over a pure copper core, the coin has a diameter of 21.2 and a weight of 5 grams, and while its design remained consistent with Schlag's original classic depiction of Jefferson and Monticello, the 1980 issue is mainly significant for collectors as part of a transitional era when mint marks were standardized and large-scale production dominated. In terms of value, the 1980 P nickel generally holds only face value in circulated condition due to its abundance, but uncirculated examples in higher mint states such as MS65 or above can carry modest premiums, often ranging from a few dollars to around $10-20 depending on luster, strike quality, and eye appeal. With full steps varieties showing strong detail on Monticello's steps, being more desirable and potentially more valuable among Jefferson nickel specialists. Overall, the 1980 P Jefferson nickel represents a common yet historically steady example of modern U.S. coinage, valued more for its place within a popular collecting series than for rarity or precious metal content. The 1980 P Jefferson nickel is a standard circulation 5-cent coin of the United States Mint that belongs to the long-running Jefferson series, first introduced in 1938 and designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, featuring a left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and an image of his Virginia estate Monticello on the reverse. And it holds particular significance as part of the early years when the P mint mark was officially used on Philadelphia coinage beginning in 1980, marking an important identification change in U.S. numismatic history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a time of high industrial demand for coinage in the United States, the 1980 nickel was produced in extremely large quantities, hundreds of millions of pieces, to support everyday commerce, which makes it very common today and easily found in circulation. Composed of the standard copper-nickel-clad alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a pure copper core, it has a diameter of 21.2 and weighs 5 grams, maintaining the same specifications used since 1966. Although its design did not change, the coin is part of a period when strike quality varied significantly due to mass production, making well-struck examples with strong details, especially full steps on Monticello, more desirable among collectors. In terms of value, the 1980 Jefferson nickel is generally worth only its face value in circulated condition because of its abundance, but uncirculated specimens can bring a small premium depending on grade, often a few dollars up to around $10 or more for high mint state examples with strong luster and sharp detail, while error coins or exceptionally well-struck pieces may attract higher collector interest. Overall, the 1980 Jefferson nickel is not a rare coin, but remains an important and widely collected part of modern U.S. coinage history, representing everyday American currency from the early 1980s and offering collectors an accessible entry point into the Jefferson nickel series. The 1980 Jefferson nickel is a United States 5-cent coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint during 1980, belonging to the long-running Jefferson Nickels series that began in 1938 and was designed by the German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, featuring on the obverse a left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson symbolizing one of America's founding leaders, and on the reverse a detailed image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia plantation home that represents his architectural legacy and intellectual influence. And this coin is especially notable because 1980 was the first year the Philadelphia Mint officially began using the P mint mark on nickels, making it an important transitional issue in modern U.S. numismatics. Produced in massive quantities exceeding 500 million pieces due to high demand for circulating coinage in the United States economy during a period of inflation and heavy commerce, the coin is composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel, over a pure copper core, with standard specifications of 21.2 diameter and 5 grams weight, and although its design remained unchanged. Quality varies, with some coins showing weak strikes while others display strong details, especially in the steps of Monticello, which collectors refer to as full steps examples. In terms of value, the 1980 Jefferson nickel is very common and usually worth only face value when circulated, but uncirculated examples can range from a few dollars up to higher premiums depending on grade, luster, and strike quality, with well-preserved MS-65 plus coins or full steps varieties being more desirable among collectors, while rare mint errors such as off-center strikes or double dies can significantly increase its numismatic value. Overall, the 1980 Jefferson nickel is considered an accessible and widely collected coin that reflects everyday American coinage of the early 1980s and remains popular among collectors studying the Jefferson Nickels series. Thanks for watching. The 1980 Jefferson nickel is a regular U.S. 5-cent coin from the Philadelphia Mint, made of copper nickel and produced in huge quantities, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. And while it is usually only worth face value in everyday circulated condition, collectors may pay a small premium for uncirculated high-grade pieces or special full steps, varieties with sharp detail.